Hello, I'm Dagon, and I'm too lazy to take them off the shelf, so here we go. After breaking my nails 24 times in 15 consecutive ways, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a Lego Plateosaurus because I am bored as fuck. So we're going to start with the most boring part and work our way to the finished product. So let's get started. Starting with the body, which I gave up halfway on disassembling, is basically just a bunch of joints and flat pieces that I mashed together until I got this genuine shape. I have an extended ball joint right here at the front where the neck would be, and a clip piece at the back where a ball joint would go in for the tail. These two pieces on the side are for the legs, and these ones up in the front are for the arms, which is why they're closer to the neck. I don't really care about color, so I just went with a more darker blackish gray tone with random dark colors that disappear in my blue neon lights for the rest of the body whenever I didn't have black or gray in that specific area. Or white, apparently. I forgot that was there. But basically, all I really did was take off the spikes, which I'll add back. And yes, this Plateosaurus is armored. Fuck scientific accuracy. I don't care. So where the neck would be, there's going to be one little plate separating everything else. This golden plate goes over yonder. So you're going to line all the spikes up, making sure that this tip points backwards, going in this pattern. Now, once you make it to this point, you might realize that there's a piece that would be floating because you know how the body is built. This is where this gold piece, which would actually go at the end of the tail, and this piece come in. You see it has two little studs right there at the back. Putting those in gives you just enough space to put this spike, allowing it to be perfectly smooth at the top and shiny apparently, while keeping the spiked back. And that is what the body looks like. I'll give you a couple seconds to digest what it fully looks like. Maybe take a screenshot or photo if you want to recreate this, because I am too lazy to disassemble all these tiny little parts with my damn fingers. Yes, you heard me correctly. I disassembled this guy with my fingers because, in all honesty, I do not have a part separator. So screw my fingernails, I guess. So after this, we can toss this aside for now while we assemble the rest of this bygone philosopher, whatever the fuck. Alright, moving on to the neck, we have a couple parts here. The base of the neck, the middle part of the neck, and the head. Let's start with the base of the neck. So here we would have, where is it? So this flat piece with upside down studs is going to be our base, which we will put a flat 2x2 white piece on top of it if it wants to fucking stick. Now, as I said, this is a ball joint where the neck would be. So facing towards the neck would be our clip part, like so. Facing towards the head would be this little ball joint part. And to keep it smooth, we top that off with a flat 2x2, giving us the base of the neck. We can set that aside for later, bringing us on to the middle part of the neck, which is basically just a repeat. So this is the orientation where the body would connect to the neck, and this is where the rest of the neck would connect to the body. So through that, you can piece together which pieces go where. A flat black 2x2 at the bottom with a clip here, a ball joint right here to connect to the head if it wants to stick, And then this little piece right here, which I was trying to find this piece, but I don't have another one of those, so you get this piece for now. Which you could probably put another spike on. We can set that aside for later. Now here's a little bit of a pain. So put 2 flat 2x2s on top of 2x4s on top of each other to make the bottom of the head. You can see the redness on my finger from taking it apart. You can put this on the head and this for a mouth part. Or just like a little paint part around the head. Put this on top to give it some space. Another black 2x4 on top to give it some space. And if you have a flat 2x4, I recommend using that. But because I don't, we're going to use these 2 black flat 2x2s. I think I got a string in there. Oh no. But this is what the head would look like. All right, let's assemble that onto the... Actually, we'll save that for last. So put aside all our disassembled Plateosaurus parts and move on to the next piece, the tail. So the tail has a couple segments, starting with this. Oh boy. So because it has a clip at the back where the tail would attach, we're going to start with this white 2x1 and attach a 2x1 ball joint and a 2x1 clip as so it looks like a reverse ice cream sandwich. And then we're going to have this little circle part with these holes in it and attach 2 spikes, which we will place on the top of that like this. And make sure the tips are pointed backwards like the rest of the body. Moving on to the next piece. As said, if you really don't feel trustworthy of doing it blind, you can use the previous piece as a little memoir of what piece needs to connect to that. Which, assembling the tail is very similar to assembling the base of the tail. You just make it thinner by removing this part and keeping the spikes. But following this trend of keeping it thin, we're going to make it slightly thinner by using this double-sided dumbbell ball joint, whatever you want to call this, followed by a thickening of the tail, where we'll have this flat piece like this, a clip like that, and attach it to this slope piece. You can make this out of any color you want as long as all these parts are that color. Now, because this is a hollow earth Plateosaurus, not exactly scientifically accurate, but it looks like a Plateosaurus in my eyes, we're going to move on to the tail club. Yes, I gave this thing a tail club. Fight me over it. Okay, so we're going to start with the base right here. I forgot how to build the club, but we're going to wing it. Oh, there's a hair on there. We're going to attach this piece here. These 2 bracket thingies on the side will come in handy for attaching the spikes. Oh, I know what we did. We started with this at the bottom because I wanted like definition to make it round like an actual club. We put this on the top and then put the spike at the top so it's like a rounded club. Remember, the spike must be pointing backwards. And then we add these spikes, which will go in facing, with these front ones facing down and the ones in the back facing up, like this. Repeat that on the other side, and the tail club should be done. I say should be if it wants to cooperate. I am sorry for the really bad angle, but I'm not the type of person or the person who has the exposure. You know what? Fuck it. We're skipping it. Yada, yada, yada. The spikes are on. We can move on to the next part. I'm too lazy for this shit. It's like 1 in the morning while I'm recording this, so you better be happy. Add that to the pile of disassembled dino parts. We're moving on to the arms and legs. Starting with the legs, because I really like what I did with the arms. Okay, so the base of the legs are these parts right here. Same with the arms, but they're assembled differently. Oh, this is the, what is it? The left leg? This is the right leg. We'll start with the right leg. So first we're going to take these two pieces. Put this in at the top of your leg. Make sure it's slanted like this, because this is going... Oh, wait, no. This is the left leg. That is the right leg. Okay. Because it's going to, slot into that ball joint right there at the back of the body. So we're going to make sure that that is at the top right there. Now, we're going to have this weird-looking smooth piece right here for definition and texture onto the thighs of your Plateosaurus. Placing this, keeping the theme of trying to keep it smooth, you're going to place this little part in here. Makes a little satisfying click. And put this semicircle thing... some sort of hat plate thing right on there. It spins, but I don't really care. Next, we're going to add this ball joint where the leg would connect to the, feet, and put a blue plate, a 2x2, flat 2x2 right there. Moving on, we are going to have a lower portion of the leg by taking a flat piece. This will connect to the toes or feet, essentially. This will attach to the leg itself. Assemble that, and it should look like this. Put that aside for later and repeat the process with the other leg. It doesn't really matter how you assemble these parts because you can just rearrange them, but it does matter how you assemble the legs. Just make sure that these... Wait a second. Oh, I did it wrong. Fuck. Basically, in order to make the left and the right leg, you're going to have to make sure that these ball joints are facing away from each other. And when you put them together, there's a very obvious like house shape. If you can see like the roof and then the body of the house. A very obvious house shape when you put the two legs side by side. Put that aside for later with the other parts. Now it's time to make the feet, which is very simple. You can literally not fuck this up. A 2x2 stud, a little clip right here, and a slope. That is all you need, and your Plateosaurus's feet is done. Repeat this process for the other foot. And boom. Dino feet. Put it on Feet Finder for all I care. Back to the disassembled pile. Now it's time for the fun part. Making the arms. So step 1, obviously, is to attach these clips at the top of your dino hand. Put a 2x2 flat piece on the top to secure it in place. To place it again, as the legs, are going to add these little pin things into the hole and add these domes onto it. Because, I don't know, it looks aesthetic. Now, the hands themselves. In order for this to work, we're going to make sure. Now, for example, I used my own hands for this, so this would be on the dinosaur, this hand right here. Obviously making this the other hand. So since when you're relaxing your hand like this, your thumb would kind of be inward. So we're going to have this little semicircle pin thing, or as the community would probably call it, if I can get the finger off. Yeah, give me a sec. As the community calls them, the Among Us piece, snapped onto this mechanical looking piece with a claw facing downward. Now based off of your own hand physiology, the thumb or third finger would go facing inward like this. And we have this small clear piece right here as a counterfeit so it doesn't, freak out. Now we're going to have two other fingers facing forward, which we'll put on this like bar piece. And, two more of those metal parts, metal looking things with the claws. We're going to put that on here with a slope piece. Again, I don't care about the color. And once assembled, you can point that downward a bit. And boom, you have your Plateosaurus arm. Oh, wait, I almost forgot that piece. You would then have to place a rounded spear at the bottom if you want to make a palm. And boom, your Plateosaurus arm is done. Repeat this process for the other hand. Where did the square go? Oh, it's underneath here. Okay, so basing off of your own hand, your thumb would be inward like that. Take the invisible cube, place it in. I'm just going to immediately go down here and place this spear at the bottom so it doesn't get covered up with the fingers. Place this on top if it wants to stick. There we go. And slope piece yet again to finish up the hand. Bend that down slightly. Curl all the fingers in, and you got yourself a hand. Now, time to assemble. All right. Well, the Plateosaurus is done. It really felt cool and awesome to show off this Lego Plateosaurus I made. Even though it did come at the cost of my fingers to disassemble him again. What makes it worse is that this wasn't even my first time recording this. This is my second rerun. Also, a funny little detail about how the face is made, it kind of makes the ball joint area look like an eyeball. Now you can't unsee it. But I disassembled this guy 2 times. Oh, right, that ball joint is really loose. Ooh, damn. Oh yeah, that's loose. I think you have a problem of broken tail, buddy. Anyways, but yeah, that was really fun to show this guy off, even if it came at the cost of loose joints, broken cankles, and finger joints that cause my oh god, the spikes. Okay, small update. I swapped out one of the joints and it made it stronger. Anyways, at least you can get this guy in a walking with dinosaur pose. I mean, I made it to scale with minifigures. Well, kinda. And hey, at least it's to scale with some of the Lego dinosaurs I have. At least in terms of height. But hey, I had to sacrifice a lot in terms of making this guy small enough to be to scale with minifigures and how flexible he can be. I'd give him like a solid 8. One, because I'm 100% sure there's going to be people who make a better Lego Plateosaurus. And two, he can't really balance himself that well. Especially due to these hip joints that I made these bottom leg joints I specifically made in order to make it look like an actual dinosaur leg. At the cost of accuracy, you get less stability. Oh dear. I mean, hey, at least you can still make it look like he's running, even though he can't stand while doing it. But hey, it looks cool. And if you get like a strong enough sticky thing for his Lego feet or a good enough stand, you can probably make him stand upright. I mean, I left this bottom part open for stands for a reason. So you can definitely probably, with a stand, make him hit even crazier poses. But I'll leave that to the community. I'm just contributing with the blueprints for this glorious Plateosaurus I made. Remember, you can choose to not add the spikes and just make it completely smooth. But I want to add the spikes to mine, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed this dumb side video. I might make more if I'm bored enough. Anyways, bye.